that I like is that Brady has not, I think probably down deep he's a good person, but Brady has a little of the aura of Brady has been chipped away here. I mean, you definitely think he was a little soured with Garoppolo, didn't like anybody over his shoulder who was this good, and Garoppolo's excellent. This trainer looks like a bozo. Everybody tells me, who I have spoken to up in Boston, who've texted me, this guy's a quack. That's what everybody says. Now, whether it's true or not, who knows? Unless you're working with the guy, you have no idea. And he's kept Brady upright at 40. But everybody seems to anybody who thinks you drink this juice, you're never going to get hurt, is a bunch of nonsense. It seems like he's got a little quack potential. And Brady, let's face it, we all know, whether you think it's a big deal or not, we all know Brady wanted to play with deflated footballs. I mean, that's as simple as it. Can't even argue it. Not even debatable. The two guys who got involved in the deflatable footballs were quietly asked to get the hell out of get the hell out of town and leave the keys at the front desk. And here's a parachute to get out of here and keep your mouth shut. In Yastrzemski and McNally, the two guys who could blow the whistle on anybody. For the Brady shoes, they're not going to do that to Tom and all the memorabilia he signed for him, but you get the idea. So this is a little fun. You got some juice here. And Ray Martell, who's in today, who likes to drive out to Orient Point, leave his family, in that shack out there on Long Island so he can go to some Patriot games. The end is near, Ray. The end is near, which is what I like to see. Dave in San Diego. He's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Dave, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Hey, Doggy. Happy New Year, buddy.
You too, Dave. Thank you. What's up now? What do you have?
Hey, so on this Patriot thing, there's a couple points that you just said that I really like, and as a Jets fan, I mean, I'm just enjoying this. But I think there are two things. The trade of Garoppolo obviously started everything. If you know Belichick was ready to start him.
Yes.
And Brady knew it was his biggest threat. And
I agree.
For him to reach this goal, this crazy goal, he's going to play till he's 45, 46 to prove what point. I mean, he won 5 Super Bowls, is just becoming a selfish player as he's gotten older. And Belichick is not going to stand for it.
Well, I think the other thing is after the Patriots won that game against Atlanta down 28-3, Belichick, if he wanted to move on from Brady and go to Garoppolo, he couldn't do that because once Brady won the game the way he won the game, and not that he didn't have this anyway, this power, but he really had it after the Falcon game, he'll call his own shots. He will tell the Patriots when he is done, not the other way around. And that bothers Belichick, who has dealt with, who has gotten rid of a lot of people up there, Richard Seymour, I'll give you a million names, Moss, you name it. Yep. He's gotten rid of a lot of people up there that he has no longer any use for, and he can't do that with Brady. And the owner is going to side with Brady. And that's, in a lot of ways, that's what's going on here. Go ahead.
And the second point, I was just back at home, actually in New York for the holidays, and I think you're 100% right. I think Belichick sees he's not done coaching, right? So he's looking next year, he's saying, what could potentially come up next year where now you got a Giants job. Okay, he's not going to go back to the Jets if they somehow think.
No way. No, the Jets, no shot.
So he's got the Giants job here, right? He's not going to. I mean, Gruden's going to get $100 million, so he can go to the Giants. He can go to a big market, and he could probably get a really good price.
Well, he's not getting $100 million. He's not getting $100 million. But I mean,
well, he's going to get 5, 6, right?
He's probably going to get roughly $50 million for 5 years if that's what he wants. Yes, you're 100%. Go ahead.
So I think you're right. I think they're going to lose eventually this year. They're not going to win it. And Brady's in Kraft's mind, Brady's earned the right to go to the sunset in the Patriots gear as long as he wants. And Belichick's not going to stand for it. And I think Belichick say I'm out.
I think if you read the tea leaves and you wanted to make a prediction about this right now, that is the prediction I would make. I think the one issue that you have to deal with are the Giants. They did bring Gettleman in here. They love Gettleman. Gettleman's done everything. He's hit a home run as a Giant GM. He's been accountable. He's been all over the place. He's a Northeasterner. He knows the team well. I mean, Gettleman's gotten off to a great start without even doing anything. He's gotten off to a great start. He got rid of Bobby Hart. He has really the offensive lineman who was a pain in the neck. He's done a tremendous job, and they all like Gettleman. Now, I don't know if Gettleman and Belichick could work together. The Giants usually like to have a separation of powers. The GM does his deal, Belichick does his. We all know Belichick is going to rule the roost. This would be interesting, but I wouldn't rule it out. To make a long story short, Ryan in South Carolina, he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Ryan, good afternoon. How are you today?
Doing well, dog. Happy Friday. You know, the one thing that I haven't heard mentioned yet, which is this could be the real straw that breaks the Patriots back, is if Belichick's out, the other problem that no one's considering is both coordinators are currently...
Yeah, that's true, too. Well, by the same token, maybe Belichick leaves and McDaniel stays as the head coach.
Do you think he'd do that, though? Because Patricia interviewed with the Giants today.
Again, this is a very tricky scenario because nobody's going to discuss this right now and they're getting ready for a playoff game with Belichick. Sure. So you got to remember, and the timing is not good. But you could make the argument that Belichick will tell the Giants quietly, keep the job open, and then he tells Kraft, I'm leaving after this year, and then McRoberts stays as the head coach. McDaniel stays as the head coach. You could definitely see that. That is not impossible. And then the what's his name? Matt Patricia goes to Detroit or goes to somewhere else. And then they have the young coach to sort of hold Brady's hand for the next 3 or 4 years, and away they go. You could definitely see that. Not impossible. You don't have to be a genius to put the pieces together. That would not. Now the problem is you have to go through back channels. You'd have to tell Mara, you know what, I'm interested to keep the job open. Mara's going to have to tell Gettleson. You're going to have Kraft go along with it and not bark about compensation. So there's a lot to it, but I wouldn't rule it out, to make a long story short. Go ahead. What else?
Well, if Kraft wants to take that route about compensation, and then he's really doing it.
He's going to get killed for that. Yeah, 100%.
Public opinion. The last thing, dog, it was sticking with this situation. If that situation I just spoke of comes through, then what do you do if you're Kraft? Thanks for taking my call.
No, well, if you're Kraft, you let McDaniels be your head coach. Brady stays, and Belichick leaves. And you're right on one thing. Kraft is going to be in a very tricky spot. He's going to a team in the NFC. They don't play him they very rarely play him. I know they're a rival because they play him twice in the Super Bowl. What is Kraft going to do? Start screaming to Goodell that how do you let my coach go to bed? Hold on now, Bob. The coach wants to get away from Brady. Brady doesn't want him either. What do you want me to do? They don't want each other. So you got to let him go. So I think that Kraft, at 76 years of age, I don't think he wants to fight. I think he won 5 Super Bowls. The guy's the greatest coach outside of Lombardi in the history of football. I think he will let him go. I really do. I think he'll scream about compensation. He'll get a draft pick. Now, we're way, 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 way ahead of ourselves, but I'm just putting it out there because I could see it happening. It's not impossible. And, if you're asking me, did Brady go behind Belichick's back to make sure Garoppolo got out of here, what makes you think that's accurate is they got rid of him pretty hastily. 5-6 games in, Belichick's calling Shanahan. He's texting him, you want this guy, blah, blah, blah. This was not a well-thought-out move by New England, getting Garoppolo out in the middle of the season. That's not the Patriot way. They usually think about things properly. They know what they're doing. We all know that Garoppolo's good. Belichick saw that he's good, and he's young, and Belichick would love to groom him. It does make you think that Brady, who hates competition, who still chaffs at the idea that Drew Henson was the quarterback at Michigan when he was there, you could definitely see Brady telling the owner, get this guy out of here. I don't want him here. I want to be here for the next 5 years. And then the owner's saying, Bill, you got to do me a favor. You can see it. And Brady's 40. He wants to play till he's 50. That's all there is to it. And you know what? What are you going to do? He's Tom Brady. The great quarterback wants to play forever. Unitas did. He played in San Diego. Montana did. Kept young on the sidelines. He went to Kansas City. The great all-time never wants to quit. And Brady don't want to quit. What's he going to do? What's Brady going to do? He's a competitor and he's great. He wants to play. I know he's got a pretty wife, but you know what? Play football. A lot more attractive when you see her once a week instead of every night. I'm kidding. Hayden in Virginia. Hayden, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Dog, if this is the beginning of the end, this is...
Hayden, get off the speakerphone and concentrate. Go ahead. Talk.
Dog, if this is the beginning of the end, this is as good as it gets. I would love to see a divorce, but do you not think that Bill would even think about stepping away for a few years?
No, he's too old. He's 65. Bill's not going to go away.
65. So you think he's going to start with a whole new staff? And I know the Giants are the perfect place. If it was any other team that if the Giant job wasn't available, I wouldn't even think of it. But Part of me, when it first happened, I thought he was going to step away. I really do. He's 65 years old. What does he have to prove in New York going there with a whole new staff?
I think he loves to coach. I think he wants to coach. I don't think it's a case of proving. I think the man wants to coach. He doesn't, he is not a guy that's going to sit at the opera. All right? Yeah, play a little golf. He go deep sea fishing with Jimmy Johnson. But the bottom line is he wants to coach. Wants to coach. And maybe this Brady thing with him has, run its course, not shockingly. Maybe he's annoyed that maybe Kraft put the pressure on him to get Garoppolo out of there. He'll make a great run at it here in these next 3 weeks. Hopefully they win it. And maybe he'll end up somewhere else. Now, again, I don't know how this would, I don't know, a lot of this is the Giants. And, because you agree, I don't know if he'd quit to go coach the Arizona Cardinals. But maybe he would. I don't know how to. Who knows with Belichick? You can't read him. But if you're asking me, Hayden, and you seem to think the same thing, could this be the end of the threesome? It's possible. There's no question about it.
Well, here's the great thing about it: is the actions are going to speak louder than words over the next, let's say, 2-3 weeks, because the Giants are going to essentially have to sit back, allow every other team to make hire coaches, and they're going to have to wait out the Patriot run. But if they're waiting it out, that means they must know through back channel that he's coming.
Well, they also could wait for, McDaniels too, because they wouldn't hire McDaniel until their season is over. And McDaniel, all these other jobs may not want to wait, so they might want McDaniel. The Giants will, here's what I would predict. You know what I'm going to predict right now? The Giants will end up with somebody from the Patriots coaching their team. How's that? I got 3 choices. I'll guarantee, I bet you they get one of them. And the interesting now is, I know, I'm telling you this, I know, the Mara family has always held Belichick in high regard as a football coach. Always. And they're making a call, not the Tishes, the Maras. Justin Shackle. I love the spirit on, huh? Update. I can pick on Brady. Nothing wrong with that. We talked to somebody in Boston about this in a sec. Here's Justin Shackle, Mad Dog Unleashed.